This class, first of all, is dedicated memory of Stanley Chera. By the whole day is dedicated by the Chera family in memory of Stanley. This class, to me, is something almost life-altering, I'd like to say. And when I first read the chapter that we're going to do second, actually not the first one, and you'll see why, it brought to light something very interesting to me, because we were always told, when we were kids, that if we would all just simply make teshuvah, right, it would bring about Mashiach, that we could do it. But there was always, I felt, a dilemma there, because everybody always told us how great the previous Dorot were. Could we possibly ever get to their level of Kiddusha, their level of learning? And I was always left with the answer that no, we can't. They always seem to be, better than us. So how could we ever get to a period of messianic redemption if the Dorot that came before us was so much greater than us? Yeheskel has an interesting answer. Now, before we get to his answer, I want to do with you this chapter 37 of Yeheskel. And it's one of the most emotional chapters in the whole Tanach to me. And one of the things about it is, I love reading this because any Jew who read this before 1945 would have read it with a totally different head than we are. We are a generation post-World War II that has seen pictures of atrocities, pictures of valleys filled with bodies, of pits with 5,000, murdered human beings in them. People didn't have images like that before World War II. We, unfortunately, have seen things like this. So this perek, when I read it, has a whole different meaning than I think it might have had for, let's say, people in my grandfather's age. So Yeheskel HaNavi starts out, and he says, I'm sorry. Okay, Hayta ala yad Hamonai vayosayeni beruach Adonai v'yiniheni b'toch habik'ah v'hi mele'ah asamot. So the Nabi tells us God picks him up and puts him into a valley filled with bones. Okay, now the Gemara in Sanhedrin discusses this perek, and Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that this is all a mashal. And we're going to go with that opinion. And what does Yeheskel say? God took me around almost like in a helicopter, looking at all of these bodies, all these bones, really. There are many, many bones. And they are extremely dry. Now, when he's telling you dry bones, what he means is they are very dead for a long time. And God asks the Nabi a question. He says, do you think these bones will ever live? And Yeheskel answers God, Adonai Elohim, He's asking me for your God. God says to him in a very strange language, prophecy, or give a prophecy toward these bones. Hear the word of God. He's talking to a bunch of skeletons. I will breathe life into you and you are going to live. I'm going to give you ligaments and then flesh. And I will envelop you with skin. I'm going to build a human body. I will breathe life into you. And I'm going to breathe life into you, and you're going to know that I am God. So Yeheskel does as he's told. Now he hears kol, right? Kol is thunder, and there's rash, like an earthquake, and everything begins to vibrate, and the bones come together. And each of these disconnected skeletons all of a sudden forms the proper skeleton. V'ra'iti v'nei alehem gidim. Then there are ligaments on them. Ubasar ala. V'yikram alehem aor mil'ma'ala. And then there's skin. V'ruach in bahim. But they are all still corpses. V'yomer elai. Now God says again to him, Hinnabe laruach. Prophecy to the wind. Hinnabe bin Adam. Ve'amarta laruach ku amar Adonai Elohim me'arba ruhot boi haruach. And it's a beautiful image, but he tells the wind, come from all corners of the earth. Wherever Jews are, boi haruach. Breathe life into these bodies and let them come alive. I did what I was told, the Nabi tells us. And these bodies came alive. They stood up. It was a mass of people. Ben Adam. In case you didn't get it, Yeheskel, what are these bones? Called Bet Israel Hema. This is the Jewish people. The Jewish people are saying, we're dried up. We have no hope. We're finished, we're doomed. God tells him again, prophecy. I am opening your graves. And I'm going to bring you out of your graves, my nation. And I will bring you back to Israel. And by doing so, and the very fact that I'm opening your graves up and giving you new life, you're going to know that I'm God. And I will infuse you with my spirit. And I'm going to put you back on your land. He swears that he's going to do it. Now, this is a beautiful look at something one might call Tehiyat HaMetim. You might call it a national rebirth, right? After the terrible things the Jewish people have endured during the 20th century, and there were many, many, many things that we have endured. Not only am I referring to the Holocaust, I'm referring to the destruction of communities that had lived also in the lands of Islam for literally thousands of years. And they were all completely gone and destroyed. The 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s, communities that had existed since the Second Temple, some even before that, were wiped away. It was like history didn't exist. The Jewish people in the 20th century went through the most amazing upheaval that any people had ever been through. And now, I want to bring back that question that we said in the beginning. How is it possible that we could possibly bring about a messianic era if we'll never equal what our grandparents, our great-grandparents saw in their Torah and their Maasim? How does it happen? Yeheskel has a different answer. And to see that answer, we have to go back a chapter. And that is to chapter Lamed Waf 36, to the middle of the chapter, Pasuk 16. Vahi debar Adonai elai lemor. Ben Adam. God refers to Yeheskel as the only Nabi he calls Ben Adam. It says, Bet Israel yoshbim al admatam. The Jewish people were sitting on their land. And what did they do when they lived in Eretz Israel? They defiled Eretz Israel. With their evil ways and alilotam de avodah zara kitum'at haniddah hayta darkam lefanai. Now it's interesting that Yeheskel uses the metaphor of a nidah. A nidah is obviously, he's using a form of tum'ah. Now, why is a nidah tameh at all? A nidah is tameh. I once heard it explained because it's an absence of life. The highest level of tum'ah, of course, in Judaism is a dead person, right? A dead human body, the Jewish body. But anywhere where there was a potential for life, also we regard as tameh. And a woman who's nidah was not made pregnant. There is no pregnancy. So there is an absence of life. And this is a nidah. But the difference is that a nidah will become tahor eventually. So God says to the Jewish people, you were like a nidah. And what did I do? God says, I spilled out my wrath on them. And it wasn't unjustified. Al-Haddam asher shafichu al-ha'ares, because of the blood they spilled. So we have avodah zarah they sinned with shafichut damim, ubegilu lehem timi'uha. With their avodah zarah, they defiled Eretz Israel. Va'afisotam bagoim, and I scattered the Jewish people. Va'yizzaru ba'arasot, and they were dispersed all over the world. Kedarkam v'cha'alilotam shefatim, and I gave them exactly what they deserved. There was no unjust punishment here. Now, what did they do when they went to the goyim? Vayabo la goyim asher ba'u sham vayahallelu et shem kochi. This is a very interesting concept. The very fact that Jews are not in Eretz Israel is a hilul shem shamayim. It's a desecration of God's name. Why? Ve'emor lahem, because the goyim were saying, Am Adonai ele u'me'aso yasau? Question mark. These are the people of God. Why are they not in their country? And everyone knew why. Va'ehmol al shem kochi. God says, I pitied my holy name. Asher haliluhu bet Yisrael bagoyim asher ba'u shama. It's my name that I'm worried about, not you. Lachen emor lebet Yisrael. Therefore, God tells Yeheskel HaNabi, tell the Jewish people, Ko amar Adonai Elohim, lo le'ma'anchem ani yosef et Yisrael. It's not for you that I am going to bring about the Geula. Nothing to do with you. Ki'im leshem kochi asher hilaltem bagoyim asher ba'atim sham. Because of my name that you have desecrated by coming into the nations and becoming part of them and thinking that you're part of them. The Kiddashti et Shemi HaGadol, but I will sanctify my name, HaMeholal Bagoyim, that is defamed now, Asher Hilaltem, that you have defiled, Betocham, V'yade'o HaGoyim, and the Goyim will know by my action, what I do, Ki ani Adonai, Ne'um Adonai Elohim, V'hikadeshi bachem le'anehem. Beautiful three words. V'hikadeshi bachem. God says, I am going to, the English is actually pretty good here. I'm going to manifest my kedusha in the eyes of the goyim through you. I'm going to use you, Jewish people, as the vehicle. And how am I going to do that? V'lakahti etchem min hagoyim. I'm going to pull you out of the goyim. V'kibasti etchem mikol ha'arasot. I will ingather you from all the countries of your diaspora. V'hebeti etchem et admatchem. I'm going to bring you back here. And when you get to Eretz Israel, there's going to be a process. V'zarakti alechem mayim tehorim. I am going to sprinkle you with the water of para aduma. What is this imagery here? Is God's going to make us tahor. Utahartem mikol tumotechem umikol gilulechem. All the nonsense you picked up in the goyim, I'm going to cleanse you of it. V'natati lachem leb hadash. I'm going to give you a new heart. Veruah hadasha, and a new spirit. I'm going to give you a spirit that you haven't seen in a very, very long time, where there'll be a Jewish army, and Jews stand up for themselves. And Jews are going ahead in the world without anyone telling them what they can and cannot do. V'hasiroti et lev ha'eben b'besarchem. I'm going to take out that heart of stone that you have. V'natati lachem lev ba'asar. I'm going to give you a flesh and blood heart that has feeling. And et ruhi etem b'kirbechem. I'm going to infuse you with my spirit. Why? Ve'asiti et asher bechukai telechu. I'm going to make it easy for you to keep the Torah. Mushpatai tishmeru ve'asitem. I'm going to make it possible for you to keep the Torah again, not under duress and under all kinds of pressures. V'yishabtem ba'aris asher natati la'avotechem. And you're going to live in the land of Israel. V'hitem li le'am. And I will be your God, and you'll be my nation again. We'll have a renewal of our berit. Now here's some more detail God gives. I'm going to save you from all of your tum'ah, from all the things that you picked up. And I'm going to call the grain, the food, the hirbetioto. And I'm not going to give you famine. Now look at the next pasuk. It says, I'm going to give fruits on the trees. The fields will yield abundance, right? So you do not have the humiliation of famine. I said this, I think, in my class on Tisha B'Av, and when I teach the Holocaust to the kids, I tell it to them all the time. In Elie Wiesel's first book, in Night, there's a piece of the book that's, really seared into my memory from the first time I read it in the 8th grade. And it was that he tells a story. At the end of the war, the Germans were marching people further and further back into Germany proper from Poland. They were avoiding the Russian army. They wanted to cover their crimes. And they had these senseless death marches, hundreds of thousands of people died for no reason, the very last months of the war. Elie Wiesel was on such a march. And some of the people, they threw in these open freight cars, and the people were packed together. And he said it was January, and we were freezing. People were dying in the car, starving to death. We just took their bodies and threw them out of the car. And we were eating snow off each other's shoulders in the freezing January temperatures, without food or any provisions being given to us. He says, and the train came to a stop, and some Germans were going to work. And one of the German workers had a lunch pail with him, and he looked at these starving human beings in the train, and he took a piece of bread, a crust, and he threw it into the crowd. And the people were scrambling. This one elderly person had a piece of bread, and he was holding it close to his chest. And a young man saw him and started beating him for it, and beating him viciously. And this man screamed out, and he told this kid, please leave me alone. I'm your father. I'll share it with you. The kid ended up beating his father to death. And the crowd saw that the kid had the piece of bread. They beat him to death too before eating his bread. Now, Elie Wiesel says years later, he was on a cruise in the Caribbean, and he saw some woman throwing coins in the water. And there were kids scrambling for the coins. And it made him crazy because it reminded him of that scene. And he told her, stop. And she said, oh, why? I like giving charity. It's a crazy story. But the story talks about herpat hara'av. This is what Yeheskel Hanavi is talking about. The humiliation of famine. When you're starving, a person has complete and total control over you. You can't think, you can't move, you can't do anything except look for that next piece of bread. And God promises us that when I bring you back to your country, you're going to have dagan, you're going to have tinubat, hasadeh, and pri ha'es, and you will not have to sustain that humiliation ever again of being under the goyim where they're starving you to death. And when you are there in all that abundance, you're going to remember your evil ways, and you're going to make teshuvah for what you did. But it's interesting how Yeheskel does not say our redemption is dependent upon our teshubah. The teshubah will come after the redemption. Many, many years ago, I was walking in Deal, and I was having a conversation with a man many years my senior. And we were talking about Israel, and he told me, but of course, this isn't a redemption because all the Jewish people have not made teshubah. And I said, did you ever read Yeheskel chapter 36? And he told me no. I said, read it. Let's have the conversation afterwards. And he did. And still, he came back to me about a week later. He said, yeah, but still. I said, what do you mean, but still? It couldn't be clearer. The Nabi is telling us that the Geulah is not dependent upon our teshubah. God is going to infuse us with his spirit and allow teshubah to happen. And look at Pasuk 32. He drives it home. He says, I swear it is not for your sake. He says, you should be embarrassed by the way you behave. And I'm not doing it for you. You definitely don't merit this. And also, not only is the agriculture going to come back to Israel, but I'm going to build all of those cities that were destroyed. And neshama, that land, neshama here means destroyed, from the word shemama, not neshama like the soul. There's a dagesh. And neshama te'abed, that land will be worked. And everyone who has seen Israel and the swamp that it was and the desolate land, they're now going to walk by and say, wow. Ha'ares halezu haneshama haytake gan Eden. Look at Israel, it's gan Eden. V'ha'arim ha'horabot v'ha'neshamot v'ha'neharasot v'surot yashabu. Look, they're all fortified, big cities filled with people. Now, I want to just point out one quick word here. Halezu is a very interesting word, very interesting word that the Nabi uses to say these. You could have said ha'ele, right? Rabbi Salman Sassoon, I once heard Ronnie Benin told me this. Rabbi Salman Sassoon said in Tanach, whenever we have this word, laws, right, it means prophecy. Now, of course, anyone who speaks Arabic knows that laws means almonds. And we have in the Tanakh, every time that this word is used, something big happens, right? Aharon's makel, what happened? It grew what? Almonds. Yaakov, when he was going, what do they say? He stopped at Beth El. What was the name of the city before? Luz. Who cares what the name of the city was before? The name of the city was Luz. Loz. It's almonds. Yirmiyahu's Nivwa. What does God tell him? Ma'ataro Yirmiyahu. What does he say? Makel Shaked. I see an almond stick, an almond branch. So here, God is saying, Ha'aris Halezu. This is miraculous. These empty villages, these hurbot, these bamot that are all over the place, these ruins will come back to life. And what's going to be the result of all that? The Yade'u HaGoyim, Asher Yisharu Tzibotechem, those goyim that are around you are going to recognize it. Ki ani Adonai baniti haneherasot, nata'ati et haneshama. I am rebuilding this. Ani Adonai, barti v'asiti. I am going to do it. You don't need to look further. Today, the Arab countries are coming around. Israel is doing business with the Arab countries. They're finally realizing we are there to stay. And God says, you know what? I'm also going to ask more of you. There are going to be so many Jews in Israel, they're going to be like sheep. Keson Kadashim. Kadashim, the son of a Korban, right? Like Jerusalem on the holidays. Everybody brings all kinds of korbanot, right? Filled with animals. All these desolate and destroyed cities will be filled with people again. Son Adam, herds of human beings. And you will know that I am God. We're living in an era ladies and gentlemen, of messianic proportions. We've crossed that threshold where the majority of the Jews live in Eretz Israel, where the majority of the Torah is taught in Eretz Israel. It's a matter of time before the whole Galut becomes an unpleasant footnote in our history. On this Yom Haasmaut, we're sitting in isolation. We have a lot of time to think. We have a lot of time to add things up. Every one of us should be thinking and considering how we are going to up our ante, how we're going to make Eretz Israel part of our lives, more part of our lives. Investments, visiting more, buying an apartment there, whatever it is. We need to make Eretz Israel part of our lives. Dare I say, even move there. But we have to do it. It's historical. We live in times that Jews that were living 75 years ago would have given their right arms to see. This is messianic, it's biblical, and it's here for all of us to see. On Wednesday, when we celebrate Yom Haasmaut and we say a Hallel, we have to thank God from the bottom of our hearts for the times that we live in, for these miraculous, incredible times. And we should appreciate every step we take in Israel when we go there, that every forum we walk is a mitzvah and an experience of messianism. Yeheskel, that we all end up there sooner than later. Ken Yeheskel. Happy Yom Haasmaut.
Joe, Uncle Jesse, just want to say, beautiful class. Really enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Uncle Jess.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's a nice class.
Thank you.
And Jaime Gindi, it is my greatest pleasure to see you there. How you doing, Jaime?
Joey, thank you. I hope you hear me. It's Aunt Shirley.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
This is Shirley's
Joey,
iPhone.
Thank you.